If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. CD4 cells and tuberculosis. In human blood, there are a large number of different types of cells, and there are two types of immunity: innate immunity and adaptive immunity. Critically important in the adaptive immune response are the CD4 white blood cells, which protect against diseases. It is essential to have a strong population of CD4 type 1 helper cells to have an effective response to tuberculosis, leishmania, and leprosy. The newborn infant is, however, unable to mount an effective adaptive immune response until the dendritic cells mature and are able to produce sufficient quantities of interleukin-12. This happens after about 8 months in humans and 6 days in mice. Quote, Zagawani PMC 27877 Robo 1. In effect, when exposed to antigen as in vaccine, the infant cannot mount an effective adaptive immune response. The body needs interleukin-12 to check the upregulation of interleukin-4 on the CD4 T helper type 2 cells in the instance of vaccination and exposure to antigen. If the upregulation is not checked, interleukin-4 receptor alpha will combine with interleukin-13 receptor alpha 1 to form a heteroceptor on the surface of the CD4 type 1 cells. When re-exposed as an adult to the antigen, the CD4 T helper type 2 cells will identify the CD4 T helper type 1 cells as foreign and kill them in a process called apoptosis. The proof of this lies in a number of scientific studies. Bellingham, Peter Dewar, Zag Huani, Becky Adkins, and many others, and in the alarming fact that 80% of South Africans are infected with tuberculosis after the BCG vaccination program of vaccinating infants at birth for the last 70 years. The further development and use of vaccines for tuberculosis will have potentially disastrous consequences, as the immune systems of adults have already been skewed and will be unable to mount effective adaptive immune responses, leading to the further collapse of CD4 T helper type 1 populations and the greater onset of pandemics. In a very short time, new vaccines for tuberculosis will be introduced to the public with an initial focus on Africa. The vaccines will become mandatory as the World Health Organization has already proclaimed tuberculosis to be a pandemic. According to the WHO, 16 new vaccines are already in production. ICASA has furthermore initiated legislation to potentially terminate non-compliant people's cell phones and internet access. It is of vital importance that we all take note of the approaching storm. The COVID pandemic will be small in comparison to that which is being prepared by the World Health Organization, pharmaceutical industries, governments, and the Global Economic Forum.